Hello and welcome back to an episode of the CTO Show with Mehmet. Today, I'm very pleased. Joining me, Ahmed Sameh. He's the CMO of Fortis. Fortis is a company that specializes in payments for retailers and for small businesses. But I don't like to steal much from my guests' time. I like to keep, the intros for themselves. Ahmed, thank you again for being here with me today. Pleasure to have you on the CTO Show. As usual, traditional question I ask all my guests: tell us a little more about you, your background, your journey, and tell us a little more about background about Fortis, and then we can start discussion from there. So the floor is yours.
Amazing. Thanks a lot for having me here. I'm really glad to be with you here in the CTO show. My name is Ahmed Sameh. I'm the CMO at Fortis. I've been with Fortis now for like almost a year and a half. And previously, I used to work within the different industries. So I used to be in the marketing for the last kind of like more than 14 years, even more within the business itself. I used to do like a lot um, and mainly my focus is within the B2B side and especially the fintech side of things. And that's what I was focusing on, working with big names like tap payments, working with like different industries like even MasterCard, working with on some accounts like Fab, launching some different startups within the region through my journey working on the agency side. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm glad to be here again.
Great, great. Thank you again, Ahmed, for being here. It's a pleasure again. Now, tell us a bit more about Fortis, the business. What's I like to ask it this way: what are some of the challenges that Fortis solve for its clients today?
So let me say it like simply. So Fortis is a software solution. So let's take it in a simpler way. So we are solving the problems that SMEs are facing on daily basis when they are talking about their management of their, let's say, day-to-day operations. So that's what we are actually focusing on. So when it comes to payment side, we're not a payment provider. However, we are supporting within the payment kind of flow by making sure that they are accepting like cards and cash through our terminal machines or like our software on the terminal machines, and also making sure that they are recording the data of their customers, how they are dealing with it, like within the whole flow and the full funnel itself. So let's say we are an ecosystem
Mhm.
that supports SMEs to kind of like manage their day-to-day operations. That's what
Cool.
we do. Portals, yeah.
Great. Ahmed, let's I like to deep dive more in the core problems. And we know, personally, I know a lot of business owners, like small business owners, entrepreneurs also as well. The first thing that they start to complain about is like spending their times managing operations, reporting, paperwork. So why is that? Like what's the root cause, I would say, for this pain, I would say.
So when we started to look into the market, we have found that uh, the SMEs themselves, they are having a huge burden when they are kind of working on the day to day action wise. So mainly they have issues when, let's say, for example, they are doing so much manual work when it comes to that. Let's say, for example, they are using spreadsheets, they are using pen and paper, they are tracking who the inventory, how they are managing the inventory, customer data, all of these kind of things are actually creating for them a problem. So we have done the research with like different industries, if I would say that.
Mhm. Yep.
Example within the F&B, we have seen some of the staff, they are actually working in a paper sheet to track the stock, what they are kind of like products that are wasted, even like if they want to understand more about their customers, some of them they're still using pen and paper. Let's say, for example, even if you are looking at the loyalty cards, you still have the paper loyalty card. So these are kind of creating a huge burden on the business owners or even the managers who are managing these day-to-day jobs, which is not helping them to focus on growing the business itself. And I'm talking only about one type of an industry, which is like the F&B. So if we talk about the services, it's gonna be exactly the same, even if in the retail itself. Like one of the main issues that we have seen is tracking the customer data that they have is huge, and what they have in the inventory is actually one of the other things. Then making sure that the customer come back to them is another thing. So
Right.
all of that is actually creating a problem for them.
Right. Now we know for a fact also, Ahmed, because again, this is I think we see it in the discussions. We hear it from friends and close circles. When someone open a business, so the first thing that they came to their mind, if they decide to go in the technology route, which I think they should, so they go with the traditional point of sales, or as we call it in for abbreviation, POS, right? So which is everyone who went to a shopping place or like a grocery nowadays, when you tap a card, so we call these machines POS, right? So people think that this is that's it, like if I have this, I'm done for the day, but still they don't understand that they are missing on huge gaps. Tell us more about these gaps between enterprise software expectation and the realities of running small businesses, and why traditional POS is not the solution.
So there are two parts of it. One is the POS solution, which is like the point of sale solutions. Yes, it's something that actually, if we're talking about, again, we need to kind of split the target audience, or like, even it depends on the merchant themselves or the clients and the business owner. They need to kind of categorize themselves in which category they are. So for example, you cannot go for like a main POS who have huge features that actually you might not be using, which is something that you need to actually have a simple solution that actually supports your day-to-day business, and then look into the how you can grow the business itself, rather than focusing on getting like let's say an ERP, and then this ERP is like actually not helping the business itself. I know that this is a struggle for like, and I've seen it was some of our clients as well, that they choose big kind of solutions just because of the name, or because like someone have recommended them, and like all, but they don't understand what is the needs. This is first. Second, mainly it's not only about the terminal machines. Yes, the terminal machines is like where the money ends in the end, and this is what actually the business
Right.
owner is looking for, like how he can take the money from the customers, right? However, with the customer itself, there is like so many things that you actually can do. Let's say, for example, you need to take a person who comes, or like a customer who comes, and like he needs to pay in card and cash. How to track these kind of transactions? Most of the terminal machines at the moment, they don't have the tracking of both, and this is one of the solutions that we have done to how to track in one transaction both of them. This is first. Second, a split of the payment itself, which is also the split between two people, for example, and it's how it can be done easier, in the easiest way, to not be struggling. So there are some options that actually you can look into from managing one machine, which is like the terminal machines. And in this case, if we are having Fortis on top, you actually can do a lot, which is also, as I've mentioned, one is customer data. How to record the customer data itself is actually really important, because you need to understand more about your customers, right? So if they are recurring customers, if you want to send them like some loyalty campaigns, how to understand more about what they are ordering, even this data is something that you actually need to understand on your side, and how this can be tied up with the inventory itself, which is your inventory that you have. So all of that is something that you actually need to focus on, not only on one part, rather than going for like a bigger kind of a POS machine, which is like can fit in like a specific place. So I think that's one of the main things as well I've seen when some clients that I have seen, like, oh, how to put where we will put the POS system. Like you need
Mm.
to bigger screen, we need to have like all of these kind of things. And I don't think they might need it, because you're in a small shop, you actually need to understand what you're selling and whom you're selling to, and how big is your business to kind of choose what you actually will be helpful for you in the end.
Right. So I think this is a natural evolution to the card machine that we all interacted with at some stage, and maybe we interacted with it like on daily basis. Like um So what I understood from you, Ahmed, like this is the natural way of the evolution of these machines from just being a mean to collect payments to something more big. So um can small businesses run the whole thing, on such systems with this evolution? Like you gave like just a couple of examples, but if you have like more like use cases that you can share with us, that would be great actually.
Definitely. So again, let's talk about like all of us lives here in the UAE, right? Who from us doesn't have like a drink from a kind of a cafeteria in the middle of the road or like something? So let's imagine this cafeteria is rather than the waiter is coming to your car, for example, if we're saying, especially in the conditions that we're living in, which is like hot. So you want to stay in your car, you want to order something, and then the waiter comes to you, and then he needs to go back to the shop, right? He'll enter whatever he you ordered and then come back again for you to pay and then go back, enter that he received the amount from the POS. So imagine all of this operation, like how many steps have been taken, all of these kind of things. Also, one of the other things is how many orders that you actually can take from one place, and that's one of the things. So the small businesses, if they have only one machine that actually can have the catalog on it, which is okay, I want one character, for example, and then the waiter comes and then this is the menu itself, and then he orders the character from the machine and you pay immediately. This is like solve so many things, and that's one of the things, as I've mentioned, that actually supports, and we're trying as much as we can to support the small and medium businesses on everything, on all the aspects. That's one of the main things. Again,
Right.
and you all know a specific area that we actually feel that, okay, we are attached to, for example. So if I'm going there, he want to give me a 10% discount on like my thing. It's one click. I don't need to go do calculations. I've seen so many things and I need to get my phone, do calculations, and like, oh, all of this can be done through one machine and it's done. It's a full operation, but actually has, let's say, if we calculate it based on numbers, for example, it like if in a week it will take like a lots of hours from this waiter to kind of like have this. And imagine if you're a busy times or like all and like you have like so many visitors, doing this through one machine can save you so much time, also can make you track a lot from the back side, or like even the back office, even for like a manager. So I have like 4 branches and I need to know what branch A have done other than branch B. So I need to kind of track all of that. But at the moment it's not happening because the and I think it comes to the part of, again, to the business itself. What is the
Right.
needs you actually want to see, out the outcome that you're actually looking for?
Right. Ahmed, there is something which we started to notice in the UAE specifically and in the Gulf region in general, which
Yes.
is the push from governments for, digitization. Of course, when you look at the macro level, we see, um, we talk about these huge initiatives around AI, building data centers. But on the, micro level, especially here in the UAE, we started to see also some mandates coming into place. So for example, there was a mandate, I think a couple of years ago for the accounting software that every
Yeah.
company they have to follow it. And there are like some accredited software that are complying with the federal tax authority, right? Now the new initiative is the e-invoicing, and the e-invoicing is like the ability to send you your invoice by email or any other you know digital form. Now seeing that, right, how this would accelerate small businesses digitization, because honestly, like we used to feel that they are the slowest to adopt. They used to think, oh, like this is an enterprise big companies thing, it's not for me. So how this will change this, and why you think that the point of sale is, or the POS system is the logical start for such transformation?
Again, it comes to what what is the UAE itself is like going, because again, as you've mentioned, like UAE is actually looking for developing the whole system itself and being away from having this kind of like, again, papers and like so much data that actually is thrown away, no one knows anything about. And to kind of find one invoice in the middle of like so many invoices that you actually have, it's gonna take you like days and years, I think. So having all of that being digitalized is actually really important. And this is what the UAE is like looking for. So I think from July 2027, paper invoice and the PDF invoice will no longer be legal for like the B2B transaction. So everyone needs to have the digital kind of invoicing,
Hmm.
which is mainly one of the main things that actually the merchant themselves or like even the business owners, they need to start like looking into how will be. This is one. Two, why the POS itself is like actually the good start for that, because again, this is where the money goes, right? So you pay on the machine. So if you're actually tracking what have been sold and like everything can be done, so the invoice itself can come out of the machine. So actually it's done. So you don't need to do like so many things. So in the end, the customer come, paid, and that's it. You don't need to kind of like go back again, track everything in like an Excel file or like doing all of these kind of things. It's something that you don't need to do anymore. Through the machine, you can download all the invoices, one day done. Everything is like being tracked and even it's recorded. So you don't need to do so much effort. And I think that's one of the main things I think the country is going for, is like how to utilize that. And again, using AI word is like a big thing. It's like,
Right.
I mean, everything needs to be digitalized, right? So in the end,
100%.
how to make sure that the AI understands the information and then creates like reports and like making sure that everything. And again, it comes back to what do we actually, as a business owner, want to see as faster and like moving within our business, how to make sure that we are actually growing the business in the end. And I think this is where the direction is going.
Absolutely. Everyone is after growing their businesses, Ahmed. Now, mentioning this, and I think this is something became more trend in the past few years. I think during COVID, it became more because of everyone was in the lockdown. So people started to do business like not only over emails, like, if you ask someone 10 years ago, everything was like formal, you interact through emails and everything, like now, but you have all this, I would say, communication platform that all became like business platforms. Actually, like Middle East, I think is unique in this. I speak with a lot of people from the US, from Europe, and I say, guys, like, there's no one like you who does business on WhatsApp and like other channels. But this is, again, it's a business, right? So it's a business transaction. Now, Ahmed, like how these blind spots, I would call them, and if inefficiencies. Um, because you have multi channels, because you might be using multiple software, can cause also um you know hurdle on the business, and how you can help them here, like when you have all these point solution. I call them single point of failure sometimes, because if you miss one, you might miss a big contract, or you might miss a big invoice. So how we can reduce these inefficiencies and blind spots.
I totally agree with that point because again, it's something that we all of us face. I mean, imagine if I am like something on a personal level, like if I want to order something now, I go to WhatsApp. So I
Right.
imagine the person on the other side himself. He needs to take my order, need to enter it like to enter the item that I ordered in like a specific machine or like something, and then he needs to send it to someone from operation, check if the inventory is there. And again, I totally agree. Between all of these kind of platforms, it creates like this issue in the end, and maybe the order will be lost or like something like that. And I'm sure all of us have faced such a thing. So one of the things, when there are so many systems in the end, the human error is possible, right? Which is a normal thing, because you need to collect like everything from one place, and then you need to reply to your customer, and then like all of these. So all of these multi-touch points are actually creating a problem. However, having one single system to track all of that is something that I think that's the direction for the business owners. That's why, for example, within the POS now, to making sure that you have the invoicing, you have the accounting system, you have like all of these kind of things being in one place. understanding more about your customer loyalty. There are so many sides of the business itself. When it sits in one system, it makes it easier for you. So again, this is like as in like an input, and then the output. As a business owner, you need to understand how the business is growing. Is the business actually is profitable or not? Like all of this information in the end is something that you actually need to look into. But imagine how many operations are actually happening to kind of like do all of that, and the time itself, the time consuming. And I mean, like it's we are in in a fast paced like country, and also look into it like how the AI is evolving on daily basis. So if we kept doing that, we actually missed a lot. So trying as much as we can to unify one place to make sure that we are tracking everything, making sure that we are focusing not only on the inputs, because like it takes like 80% of the time of the business owner, but like actually the output itself, and taking more decisions, growing the business, focusing on like different lines or like inventory or like something else is actually really important. So that's how I see it with how many systems that we have. And I think I've mentioned it at the beginning as well. Like the business owners, like sometimes they try to get like as much kind of like platform tools, reporting tools, and like all. And again, it comes to the business when they want to sell, right? Like, oh, my system is the best than the other system. But like, what is the actually the business needs is really making sure that everything in one place, everything is being tied up together is really important. That's how I see it from my point, to be honest. And I have seen it was like some of our clients. Yeah.
Right. Now, there's something, Ahmed, which is funny and not funny at the same time. Now, in the enterprise world, and I work a lot and I still work in the enterprise. So, like it's normal to see multiple solutions for multiple use cases. Now, in small businesses, so there's this myth, I would call it like, hey, let's go buy this software for that. Let's do this. And, of course, in the small business, it's kind of word of mouth, and someone just suggests to their friends what they do. And now with the AI, of course, like you go ask ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever, you know, and it would go, hey, like, yeah, buy X software for this and Y for that. And at the end of the day, like I heard it actually from some people, hey, like we get overwhelmed with all this. So why, we need to challenge the assumption that business need more tools to become more efficient rather than they need simplification, actually, especially if they are a small business.
Mhm. Yeah. The main thing here is that we actually, I think, again, comes to the overwhelming ourselves with like how many softwares are there in the market and how beneficial they are. And we use them and then they are unutilized. So I end up paying and I receive an invoice of like a system that I might have used it once or not even used the whole features in, which is like actually really a big thing. So one of the things is understanding what do I need and what is the information that I need to gather. That's really important. And then what is the actual output that I'm actually looking for? Whether it's becoming, again, we will tie this back to inventory. What I'm actually showing is like my catalog. Am I adding like the right thing that actually was in a product that I have, and this being tied up with my inventory, and like, or again, it comes to the point like how the business owner himself is looking into the sides of the business. Because adding, imagine if it's like a four cornered square of the business itself, and then adding five kind of like tools or two tools in the operation side, and then one other tool in for the owner himself to kind of see. But because I've hired like a manager who is only using this tool, and then one other manager is using another tool, so imagine how many tools you will end up having for like a business. And then this creates like the problem. So simplifying the amount of tools and the like the day-to-day operations that you actually need is really important. And making sure that you have one tool that actually satisfy in the end, like again, it's the input and output. What do you need?
Right, right.
So making sure that the input is matching the output and gives you the right information that you actually need. It's not about the tools. It's not about like my business is gonna be successful if I use this tool. No, it doesn't work like that. It's more. I've been in the business for like a bit, and like I did this mistake by myself. I had
Right.
and I did this mistake. I wanted to buy like tools. I wanted to do like this and that, but again, it didn't help me at all to do my own business.
100%. Yeah, you need simplification because you need to keep things lean, as we
Exactly.
call it, right? So, and simple, simplicity, nothing beats simplicity actually. And even,
Uh-huh.
by the way, like even in the enterprise, like there's always this huge initiatives to consolidate and try to it's only not only for cutting costs, to your point, also like to make, the operations, much
Smooth.
simpler and
Yes.
smooth, 100%. Now, Ahmed, one thing which we see a lot here in the UAE, and I think it's coming up in other parts of the GCC and the Gulf region, with this mobile first business, right? So whether it's a kiosk, pop-up shop, food trucks, home services, and we talked even about WhatsApp, and I know people who manage their business literally on WhatsApp. So they take orders on WhatsApp, they deliver, everything is running there. So how does shaping these new trends shaping the technology SMEs need? Like how the ultimate I would say scenario would look like for this mobile first business?
Um, we are in the market that actually can absorb like so many things, right? So let's look into how big is the markets now, like the events which is like happening as a rape market or Ramadan markets or Friday markets, whatever the market is. So
Right.
there are so many things are happening here, right? And people started to, because I think one of the main things is like as business owners, they do have like ideas that actually can, it has a need, and they are trying to sell their products. They are trying to sell their ideas, and they have like some, right. So cooking at home, and like then you do like this main dish, and then you want to show it to everyone. So this is like something that actually increasing, and we started to see it increasing in the UAE, Dubai specifically. So better than having like a shop or like having all of these kind of things, it's not like actually supporting you. So that's one. So, and then you will start seeing like digital banks are supporting people to receive payments through their app, which is like everything can be managed through the app. However, the main part here is actually receiving the transaction or the payment, but then it's not being translated into something that you actually have measured. So still, I went to the rate market to kind of see how the people are running the business, especially like it's in our targets, and like how I want to see how people are starting to interact with that. You still need to use papers, pen and papers, and like all of these kind of things rather than using one place, one machine. I mean, if it's Fortis or any other. However, to utilize this kind of machine to make sure that they are tracking everything, and like, I mean, it's a small business. Any
Right.
small mistake that you might have, right? It might cost you like a little bit, and you actually need this profit, right? So a small mistake or like a missing in like in like a small payment or like difference between, and again, it's a small thing. It's an event that actually you can go to after work, and like because I like to do honey, for example, or whatever. Like I have a like or something that I want to do, and then in the end, this is something that I create, and I want to manage it in the most efficient way. So again, coming back to the part, which is how I see even the market themselves are building this solution to support the small businesses. So to accept. But again, as a business owner, you need to make sure that everything is being tied up to one place, making sure that you're tracking everything in the right way, the easiest way. And yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the and this brings me to the next question about why collecting these transactions and tracking everything is important in the age of AI. We know, like for a fact, like big retailers, like big names, they were tracking, what we do, what we purchase, so they can, of course, using machine learning AI to just you know set their marketing machine. And you are a chief marketing officer, so you know it better than me on utilizing the data and insights. Now, in the age of AI, how this is turning transaction into actionable business insights, and if you can just on a high level, we don't need to go into the technicalities, of course. As Fortis, like how you are utilizing AI to empower also your clients.
So there are. This is a really good question, and I like it. Honest. Again, we talked all the last few minutes about the data and how to make sure that
Right.
everything is being smooth in one place, making sure that everything is being tracked, how to make sure that we are understanding the data that we have. This is amazing. However, the main part here is okay, what do we do with this data that we have? This is really important and really huge question that I see so many people like having sits on a lots of data, but they are not utilizing it, which is will come to a part that okay, first of all, I need to understand more about what product have sold. But so utilizing that from the data that you have is actually really important. Maybe you need to remove it from your inventory or even your catalog because you're not selling it. This is really important because it might cost you like a lot for like and it's not being good for the margins or like whatever, and then in the end it's something that you're actually not, you don't need, maybe. How to utilize the data of the customers themselves, as I've mentioned, in sending them offers, making sure that they are loyal customers. And all of us now, we if you find someone that you're dealing with and you visited them a couple of times, you want these customers, like sorry, the business owner or even the brand itself keep engaging with you. And we see it now with like how many loyalty cards are out there. Then back to that point and how Fortis is actually utilizing the AI with this huge amount of data that we have is making sure that as an a business owner, how to make sure that you are actually understanding. So you can we actually implemented like a beta version of like an AI for reporting. So for example, if you want to understand how is the amounts of transactions that happened today, you can ask the AI tool and it will give you a full detailed report on that, making sure you understand which branch have done better. You can start like talking with them, which product and the inventory. You can understand like so much about this part. Then there is another part which is more um, how you can start making sure that, even as I've mentioned, the loyalty part, making sure that you are sending more to your customers. Also, you have a lots of data. Like if a customer that actually didn't visit you for the last couple of months, I mean, you can give them an offer and you can ask the AI to create a specific campaign to send it to these customers that actually come and visit, and we give you 20% off or 30% off. All of that is not manually done anymore. It's an AI, one line of a prompt, and then you're done. Like you can speak with the AI and like all of that will be created. He can create like this customer list of an audience and then one line, and then you can actually send it. And that's where we are actually, all of us are going now. Who's not utilizing AI anymore? Like everyone is
Yeah.
utilizing all the platforms, all the tools have AIs. But again, the main part of if you have a specific total like amount of data, you can utilize it. There are so many ways that you can utilize it. And I think in Fortis, we are actually working on that and we are doing that. We are going into this AI part, like really like
Agents maybe also as well, Ahmed.
we do have a lots of agents that will be coming around like soon for reporting, for inventory management, for even you can do this vendor kind of a thing. So
Right.
we're connecting them with the vendors and how they are sending to the vendors. There are so many things that actually we're working on to support the SMEs. And I've mentioned the main part for Fortis now is how to support the SMEs on the operation side, making sure that they are utilizing one platform for everything.
Right.
In it's
This is very important, because you're empowering SMEs, of course, with the platform that you mentioned to us. So you do more than just POS, like you help them in their inventory, loyalty cards, taking payments. Like I'm just trying to summarize. But
yes,
moreover, like now with the AI and the agentic AI, I think, and I'm mentioning this for a reason, not because of Fortis only alone. Of course, what you're doing is amazing, but this is for the small business owners. I think you need to look at partners like, you know, Fortis or any other, in whatever domain they are, because people who thinks agents are like kind of a hype or like AI is kind of hype. It's not like
Not at all.
really. It's something that if you are a one person business even, or maybe I don't know, maybe you are a small team of 3 or 4 people, like imagine like you have all of a sudden as if you have I would say 20 maybe people working with you. Of course, you will have the agents, you will have someone supervising them, human in the loop, all this. This is very important. And the way I'm happy about this, Ahmed, and the reason I ask you, because you work with SMEs, SMEs are close to my heart because we know, and I can't remember the exact statistics, but here in the UAE, I think like there are a big chunk of the GDP comes from SMEs, right?
Yes.
So, um, and we need to keep empowering them. We need to keep, getting them with the latest and greatest when it comes to technology. And great that you're doing this, on that level. And if you check the website, I mean, this for the audience, you can see the flagship names that Fortis work with. So no, I don't need to speak. Mohammed, you're here to speak about this, but what you gave us really is important for small business owners to rethink about running their business in a simplified way, as we said. As we are coming close to the end, Ahmed, any final thoughts? Like, what kind of maybe trends you're expecting? And very famous question I ask at the end to all my guests is where to get in touch.
Uh, First of all, thank you so much for this. And I totally appreciate the questions. And again, the UAE is a home for like 500,000 SME. Imagine with, I
Right,
mean, UAE is a small country, but like 500,000 SME. And like, this is a really good place for everyone to start their own business. Everyone have an idea. Everyone have, and again, as you said, if it's a one person business or like even two, three, 20, whatever, in the end, you need to make sure that you're utilizing all the efforts and all the time to grow your business, making sure that you're using the right tools, making sure that you are in the right place. Again, and back to data and how the trend is, everyone is going to AI and everyone is seeing like what is happening with Claude, what is happening with ChatGPT, and like how the evolution from that side is going and how it is going faster than even we all of us expected, and even the CEOs of these companies are actually expected. It's like going crazy, I would say,
perfect.
and the data that is there, all of these kind of things. But to make sure that we are utilizing that in the right way, and it's not something that, oh, okay, I'm gonna use AI and then like I'm prompting and that's it. No, it's not about that. It's more about how to utilize the tool in the right way and making sure that you're utilizing in the best way possible to benefit yourself and benefit your business in the end, because you put sweat, you put like time, effort, money, whatever you have put in there to make sure that you're actually reaching to the right people, making sure that you're selling your idea in the end. Everyone is doing a business is like there for to be successful. So to make sure that you're being successful, you need to go not with the trend, but utilize the trend with yourself, like with whatever you are doing at the moment. Um, Again, it's a hype. It's a big hype. Making sure that you're actually utilizing everything to make the right decision, making sure that you're growing. This is like the big thing I see in there. And how to reach to Fortis? I mean, we have our own website. Please go there, speak with us. Where all of us are available anywhere. Please come and visit us. Like, try to reach out to us and like everything. We're a good team, good people like there to support SMEs, as I've mentioned. Fortis is there in the market to support businesses, making them grow. The main thing, and I see this even with our teams and like all, we're actually not trying to sell the software. We're actually supporting you to grow your business, making sure even if it's not related to only the product or the software, we're
Right.
actually you the right advice in the end, to make sure that you're growing, as I've mentioned at the beginning.
Right, Ahmed, maybe I should have asked you this at the beginning. So currently you're offering are only for UAE or like you have like some kind of international footprint as well?
So we have an international footprint. However, the main focus now is the UAE.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, that's the main focus for now. But we are expanding. We're growing. The platform is actually we have seen a good interaction with our business owners or even the merchants or like all. So it's actually helping us to grow.
Great. I can't thank you enough, Ahmed. I know how busy things can be, especially in this season where everyone is looking for how they can modernize their businesses. So thank you for being here with me on the show. So the any link would be available in the show notes. And this is how I end my episodes. Usually this is for the audience. If you just discovered us by luck, thank you for passing by. I hope you enjoyed. If you did so, give me a favor, subscribe and share it with your friends, colleagues, whoever you think this might be useful for them. And if you are one of the people who keep coming again and again, thank you very much for tuning in always. And I see the statistics every week, every day. Even sometimes we see spikes, and we know like some people are referring other people, and this is because of you. We are trending on the Apple top 200 podcast charts across multiple countries all the time, so we keep changing places. We made it almost to all continents, so still like some countries we are waiting them to tune in. But as I say always, stay tuned for any episode very soon. Thank you. Bye bye.